Well, hello, everybody. If you've landed here, you've landed on Let's Talk News. I am your host, Leticia Remauro, coming to you from beautiful evening in South Carolina. And I hope you all are experiencing a beautiful evening. Tonight, we're going to talk about the lies, the cover ups, the misinformation, disinformation that Democrats and the lunatic left and the mainstream media have been perpetrating on the American people since Donald Trump came down the elevator and they realized that he was going to win. Um, it's just amazing to me that we still have to talk about this because nothing has happened to the people that we have uncovered and we know have done bad things in order to elect Democrats. And what do I, the gaslighting, the misinformation, the theatrics, the Hollywood theatrics continue to this day. Tomorrow, Virginia is going to vote for redistricting. Um, they are going to vote for Virginia, which has right now 6 Democrat House seats and 5 Republican House seats. The state House in Virginia, Senate, and Assembly are changing or trying to change that to 10 Democrats House seats or Democrat districts and 1 Republican district. So now think about that, right? You have almost an even keel, and Virginia is a purple state because we had a Republican governor last go round. Now we have a Democrat governor. Um, what kind of line swapping needs to happen for them to move districts so that the Democrat has the advantage in 10 congressional districts in Virginia. Now we know that the big cities will always, and I don't care if you're a ruby red state or not, your big cities are always going to be more left leaning. That's just the way it is. Even here in South Carolina, our state capital, Columbia, is blue, blue, blue. And so are some others that go back and forth. But Virginia's a purple state, and the districts were drawn to represent the people and their ideology. But tomorrow they're going to vote on that redistricting, and the gaslighting is that the Democrats are saying that this needs to be done because of what happened in Texas, because there were some lines redrawn in Texas. And so now California redrew lines. New York tried to redraw lines. I think that we have Colorado. There were lines being redrawn everywhere because Texas dared to fix their lines in a year that was not a census year, because up until now it's not written in stone, but up until now the redistricting used to happen every 10 years after a census. But tomorrow the Virginians are going to the polls. I hope they do the right thing, but there's a lot of money being poured into the left's coffers to make sure that Virginia becomes a true blue state like California and like New York. And that is, they don't give a shit about the fact that about 45% of Virginians are more conservative. And I just wonder if people are actually going to go out or not. I want to and vote. Conservative people are going to go out and vote. So we're going to look at that tomorrow night. But it's very, very scary because the American people are just being hoodwinked by mainstream media. And it's destroying our country. Aloha, Robert Santillian. How are you? Good to have you today. Good evening, Kevin Young. How are you? Hello, Francine. Good to have you. Hello, Mom. Good to have you. And Angela Ricca and Lucille Chavon. Great to have all of you. Hi, Gloria. My parents had a place in Calabash, North Carolina. I loved going there. Went to Myrtle Beach a lot. The people there were nice. They still are. Myrtle Beach is a little dangerous. That's another, city that is blue now, very blue, as a matter of fact. But we're in we're not in the proper city. We're on the outskirts, and we're red here, but we're quickly turning blue because a lot of Northerners are coming to escape what they had, but they're bringing their politics with them and they're voting blue, and it's unfortunate. Let's hope they don't move any districts. Yeah, well, I'm hoping, but I don't have a lot of confidence. And I'll tell you why. Seeing the election results that I've seen over the past year or so, um, in strong Republican districts. Not what's her name? Marjorie Taylor Greene's district, for instance, that was a huge, strong Republican district for Trump, and we only kept that seat by I think it was like 25 points, but that should have been a 60 point win there. So things are changing, and it's scary because we only have a 4 seat majority. So the Republicans. I mean, look, nothing is for certain. Just because they move districts doesn't mean that you can't put up a good candidate on the Republican line and still win. It's not a fait accompli because everything's new to people, but it's the money, and we know that they have money coming in from places they shouldn't. Yeah, I hope so too. When I say money where they shouldn't, I mean overseas. And Ken Paxton, the Attorney General of Texas, is now suing Act Blue because of what is going on with dark money coming into these campaigns. Um, Serious bribe scandal election fraud going on in Hawaii. Okay, I'll take a look at that. I have not been near my computer, but I will take a look at that. Let's see. This is Ken. Paxton's letter. Um, he filed a landmark lawsuit against Act Blue for deceiving Americans by lying about its donation processes that allow fraudulent and foreign donations. So the radical left has relied on Act Blue as a way to funnel foreign donations and dark money into their political campaigns to subvert our laws and compromise the integrity of our elections. Act Blue lied to Congress and to the American people, and I will ensure justice is served. It has blatantly ignored state law and prohibits deceptive practices, and it must pay for its illegal conduct. Fair elections are the foundations of our democracy, and I will work to ensure no illegal campaign donation flies under the radar. So Act Blue was, they went before Congress. They lied blatantly to Congress. And we're seeing now what we have always said on the show, right? There's no depth that I'm not going to just say the left. The left are the useful idiots for the global elitists. And there's no depths that they won't sink to. And because everybody's minds have been just basically turned into mush with all of the drugs and the video games and the brainwashing in public schools, people just they're like in a trance. And I if I had to wager, I would say about 65% of American, well, no, I'm not. I'm going to say it this way. About 45% of Americans know what's up, like us, and talk about it and are strong with their convictions. I think about 35% of Americans are just sleepwalking through life, will just act as useful idiots for the global elites. And the rest, I think, don't give a shit. They're so tied up in their everyday traumas that they are not paying attention. And that is very, very concerning to me. I think that we need to do something to get attention. And I can't drive it home enough that shows like this, and you talking on Facebook, and making sure that you push up through the algorithms things that you agree with and that make sense to you, is so, so important, because the left has all the money, because that money, it's not just from Hollywood, it's from the global elitists, the George Soroses of the world, and more. Hi, Karen. Good to have you. Well, they're not done. See, I mean, that's the whole thing. They're not done. Act Blue. And we've seen how many independent reporters have gone out knocking on doors, asking people if they made donations, and a lot of those people, even though they said no, it wasn't me, they were so brainwashed to the left and had such TDS that they weren't even outraged that their names were being used, even though they didn't make the donations. They were happy that if they couldn't give, somebody else did in their name to elect their people. And that's why we're seeing the turnover in some of the House seats, not the Congress, but the state houses. We've seen, like in Louisiana, we lost a bunch of seats, and these are the things that the Democrats brag about. And that people think that, oh, well, everybody's getting on board the Democrat train, so I better get on board too. Like we said, like we saw last night with Nancy Pelosi, the wrap up smear campaign. Well, this is a playbook, or a play in their book that they use over and over again, and it is through illegal money that they're doing it. Constitutional republic, not a democracy. The founders refused at all to use the term democracy in any of the founding papers at all. Did I use the term democracy, or was that Ken Paxton? I'm a little confused. Maybe I did, and I'm sorry if I did. I mean, I don't. I know that we're a republic, and I know that we don't use democracy, because democracy turns almost every single time to socialism and then authoritarianism. That's why the founding fathers were careful not to use the word democracy. One of the biggest bribes here was taken from our lieutenant governor, and the state AG found it an issue. So the lieutenant governor, Silva Luke, dropped out for re-election due to stress. Oh, interesting. Did we talk about this last week? I thought we did. Hi, Susan. Good to have you. All right. So now we know where the money is coming from and how they're getting it into these races, which is churning the races, because they're able to then churn the information. And in like South Carolina, and as I said, there's no depth that they're not willing to sink to win. In South Carolina, where we have open primaries, where, in other words, you are not registered as a Republican or a Democrat, but you go to the polls on election days and declare which primary you want to vote in, and then you vote. We have people running here that I don't think they're running as Republicans, but I don't think they are Republicans. It's very, very interesting and scary and bad. Hi, Maisie. Good to have you. Hello, Tom. How are you feeling, my friend? I hope you're feeling well. You just sound, I know that it's crazy for me to say this, but just the way you write, you sound strong. You sound good. I'm so glad that you're feeling good. Okay. So, there's other ways that they can cheat. And here's one. This is a little bit long, but I want you to watch this. And I think this came out a little while ago, but it's worth discussing tonight because they told us this stuff didn't happen. Watch.
Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, releasing a bombshell report today that shows a conspiracy by a sitting president, Barack Obama, and his intel agencies to sabotage the president-elect, Donald Trump, brainwash the electorate, and undermine the legitimacy of an election.
There is irrefutable evidence that detail how President Obama and his national security team directed the creation of an intelligence community assessment that they knew was false. They knew it would promote this contrived narrative that Russia interfered in the 2016 election to help President Trump win, selling it to the American people as though it were true. It wasn't.
Gabbard got her hands on a House intel report that's been locked away in a CIA vault for almost a decade.
There were high-level DNC emails that detailed evidence of Hillary's, quote, psycho-emotional problems, uncontrolled fits of anger, aggression, and cheerfulness, and that then Secretary Clinton was allegedly on a daily regimen of heavy tranquilizers. Then CIA Director Brennan and the intelligence community mischaracterized intelligence and relied on dubious substandard sources to create a contrived false narrative that Putin developed a quote-unquote clear preference for Trump.
Now, if Clinton was on tranquilizers like the Russians believed, why didn't they leak it to help Trump win?
How credible was the information about Hillary Clinton's health?
All I have seen is what the Intelligence Committee have reported through their investigation. I think the underlying point there is that we understand from intelligence what Russia said that they had. And the important point here is that if they were trying to influence the election, as President Obama and James Clapper and John Brennan, everybody said they were doing in order to support Donald Trump's election, they would have released the most damning of that information.
Obama and his spy chiefs knew that Putin didn't prefer Trump over Hillary, but they cooked the intelligence to make it look like he did. Obama and his intel spies knew that Putin didn't collude with Trump and that he didn't even direct his people to help Trump win. But they put it out there anyway. In a sense, Barack Obama did exactly what Putin wanted, undermined Americans' faith in free and fair elections and caused chaos in our country.
The evidence that we have found and that we have released directly point to President Obama leading the manufacturing of this intelligence assessment. There are multiple pieces of evidence and intelligence that confirm that fact.
Okay, so that's a Democrat standing there telling us what she found. A Democrat telling us that the left's cult leader, and I use that really, really strongly, the left's cult leader, Barack Obama, along with Nancy Pelosi, you could be certain, they were the ones that colluded with Hillary Clinton, FBI, CIA, and they actually did the work that Russia wanted them to do. They had the opportunity and they took it. Once again, no depth that they won't sink to retain their power. I mean, could you imagine? We had a brain dead president who was walking around like Weekend at Bernie's for 4 years, and Republicans never undermined the office of the president. We never did it. I mean, I made fun of him constantly, but when he was right, I said he was right. But they are throwing a tantrum because who they wanted didn't get in and they couldn't deal with it. That is scary shit. Will you hear it on ABC, CBS, NBC? No, you won't, because they're all bought and paid for. I honestly believe the money sent to Ukraine was laundered back to the deep state leftists. You're absolutely right. It was. Lots of that money was. We need to get all these people in prison before the elections. I don't know if we're going to see it before the elections, but we do. They need to be tried. The thing is that you can't try a president for actions that they took while they were president. You can, however, go after Comey and the other one. Oh, I can't stand it. So, and Hillary. Our H102 U.S. District House Representative Jill Takuda switched from Democrat to Republican because she knew she wasn't going to be reelected. She's now a rhino. Nobody has filed against her. She's a snake, and we know it. It's happening everywhere, and that's the problem. I wish Putin would go on national television to substantiate the claims, or it could be sticky. But I'd love to see him trash the Democrats. If he does that, then it becomes real, right? I mean, Putin said he wanted Kamala, remember that? And somehow that backfired. Listen, I can tell you right now, there's no way that he'll trash the Democrats. Trump is making his life a living hell. Trump has made Putin realize that he's playing checkers while Trump is playing chess. Or if Putin is playing chess, Trump is playing 3D chess. So Putin will do anything he can to get rid of Trump, and so will Xi. The two of them, remember the global elites, they're part of this. They're all part of it. It's our enemies that are seeking to undermine us and Trump. And we got to keep talking about it. We have to keep talking about it. Okay. I know you know this, but just a reminder on voter ID.
Department suing 29 states and Washington, D.C., saying they're refusing to turn over voter roll data to federal investigators.
We're doing that to make sure that states are in compliance. And guess what? We found at least 350,000 dead people currently on the voter rolls in those jurisdictions. And we've referred approximately 25,000 people with no citizenship records to to Homeland Security to look at, dig into that further and see the extent to which people voted.
Meanwhile, as usual, voters appear to be on board for voter ID.
So 355,000 voters across the nation who are suspicious. But we've been told over and over again that if there's anybody who's voting that are not supposed to vote, it's infinitesimal. It couldn't change an election. Really? Couldn't change a congressional election? Couldn't change. Look at Carrie Lake. Look at how close those elections were. Look at in recent years how close some of these congressional elections were, Senate elections in Georgia. Yeah. So they've been lying and saying that, and if you challenge them, they make it so that you look stupid or like you're part of a cult or you're a conspiracy theorist. But now it's coming out. It's very scary how far they've gone and still going with the computation to get control. Susan, it really is. And I rack my brain sometimes trying to figure out how we're going to beat them at their own game. And we need to. But, the thing about Republicans is we don't cheat. We just don't. And we also don't walk in lockstep because the Republicans have always been more independent thinking, where Democrats are more like unions, right? More union kind of mindset, where Republicans are more entrepreneurs, right? So it's easy to get the Democrats to all walk in lockstep and say the same thing. I mean, in essence, they call us a cult, but we could never be a cult. We're too independent. Look at how many Republicans with the razor thin margin that we have in the House. Look at how many Republicans break ranks, not only in the House, but also in the Senate. Look at Massey. Look at Rand Paul. It's crazy. It's very crazy. But that would never happen. You don't have one except for Fetterman. You have nobody that breaks off from the Democrats. Nobody. Hawaii is not in compliance and the governor is under hot water. So what are we going to do about it becomes the question. Santillion, what can be done about it? if it wasn't for freaking, Republicans asking and Democrats asking me for money, my bell would never go off on my phone. We have to watch Democrats carefully. Switching from Democrat to Republican can become rhinos. Well, that's what's happening. And I know that we caught them in South Carolina trying to take over the Republican Party. And that was Stacey Abrams brought up people from Georgia to do it, and they were caught and thrown out. It was really interesting. All the stuff comes out, but nothing happens. Well, the judges keep throwing it out. How many judges have thrown out Comey, have thrown out, and then the Senate, is not confirming his federal prosecutors. So, they're doing it to him again. And he's trying to barrel through. It's not easy. Being president is not being king. You still have to fight. You still have to get through to make things happen. Look at the movie 2000 Mules. Yeah, well, I saw that movie many times. I have a meeting about this issue on Wednesday with the State Election Commission. My friend filed for the open seat on the commission, and the governor dismissed it. Wow. I saw Patel on video drinking at Olympic hockey game. Dems trying to make it a thing. Anyone else see that? Yes, that's been going around for a while. They are trying to make it a thing. They're doing anything that they can to try and discredit this White House and this administration. And if drinking a beer when your Olympic team wins makes you a bad person, then I think that there's a lot of Sunday football men and women that will take issue with the Democrats on that. All right, lastly, this is Delaware County, Pennsylvania, getting rid of tapes in the 2020 election. Watch.
Pads in the second scanner.
We got to talk about it now.
Why?
Done. Go on.
Here's Tom Gallagher again, lawyer for Delaware County, destroying voting machine tapes to bypass the right to know request.
And then let them try to figure out what we did.
Tom, why do you have to rip it off? Makes you feel better?
We got it's just so many copies. I didn't want to try to pick it out and take the stuff away.
Oh.
We're gonna have a little campfire going.
And that was 4 prizes.
What we have here is evidence. What we have there is evidence. Right? Let them figure that out.
Yes, but what I don't understand, and this makes me nervous, is why tapes were being thrown away. So what is... No tapes were. No, you guys have been throwing away tapes, so what tapes are you throwing away? Like, why?
Because they're unidentifiable. There's no way they could,
But it's been that way since the November election, so why would you throw anything away? Because you have to save it for 22 months.
Well, let's put it this way. Yes, there are tapes that are being tossed, but they are of no audit value. Of no audit value.
No audit value. So how many judges threw the cases out of court because they said there was no standing when Trump was trying to tell them they are rigging the election? Couldn't do anything about it because the election hadn't taken place yet. So those were thrown out. And then afterwards, there was a mockery made of all of the investigations and everything else. And look at what happened. Look at what happened. There's plenty of people who know what's going on. The problem now is that smear wrap-up, right? The smear wrap-up. They have thoroughly gotten all of the mainstream media, legacy media, in their pockets. And so that is the only thing that can be deemed credible. So we got the fact check thing and all that other stuff. So supposedly the mainstream media is the only credible thing. And so what happens is that if mainstream media doesn't report this stuff, they're basically treating everybody who is sitting in government right now in the Trump administration as compulsive liars and as fascists and part of a cult. And there are groups of people that believe it. That's why they go out in the street and protest. And all of this is contrived by Nancy Pelosi, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, and the masterminds of the new Democrat Party. They have Hakeem Jeffries out there, not for any particular reason, only to try and be the first Black speaker that we have. We've got to make sure that that doesn't happen. We just have to, because that man, I know him, is nothing but a robot for the Democrats. Yeah, Obama drank too. Yeah, remember he had the beer summit with somebody, I forget who. Drinking was no issue with Nancy Pelosi and drug abuse by Hillary Clinton. Yeah, that's true. And, I mean, she's always wasted, and so is Kamala. But, it's what they're guilty of, they try to pin on other people and make it as a bad thing. And there are seniors who will side with them. The news constantly lies to us on political issues. Yeah, they have their marching orders because they're owned by the global elitists. This is cause for him to be arrested. Yeah. But not Obama, because whatever he did as president. And, that's important context. Got him on tape. Oh, Tom, I'm sorry. Yes. Yeah. The lawyer. Yeah, let's see what happens. But again, who appointed the judges? We see it now, right? We see it with all of them. I mean, how corrupt they are. Look at what happened. Look at what happened in New York with Trump. I mean, there's a ridiculousness with Tish James, with Alvin Bragg. I mean, absolute ridiculousness. And, after you discredit somebody, it makes it hard for people to stand up and speak the truth. I have a friend at our biggest local media, KHON, who is a reporter. He found some nasty cover-ups. He's trying to stay there. That's, it needs to be uncovered. Projection is their MO. Absolutely is. All right. So let's everybody try our best that if you're on Facebook, if you're on social media, let's share. Let's, not just my show, but the things that you see and are true. Let's share those. And if you see bullshit, let's call bullshit. It's important. It's all we have left. Because we don't have legacy media anymore, and Fox is like this. So it's up to us. We have to keep things going. And I want to ask everybody just to take a minute and say prayers for all of our viewers, like Tom and others, who are not feeling too well. And we need them to get on their feet, and we need everybody to get well. You know who you are. I don't want to uncover anybody, but we could all use a couple of prayers. So let's all pray for each other. I love you, and I thank you for watching me at night. I thank you for letting me get this shit off my chest. I will see you tomorrow at 8 o'clock, and hopefully the people of Virginia will do the right thing. Let's see. Here's hoping. Let's pray for that too.